We'll call the City Council regular meeting to order for Monday, June 17th, 2024. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Hoyt.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Here. Councilmember Burnett. Here. Councilmember Lean.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
All right. Any changes to the agenda? Leah, Nick, Holly?
No.
Katie? Steve?
None.
I would like to request to add item 7.12, and the item has been added to the online version of our agenda. And this is a donation of $15,000 from the Farmington Fire Relief Association.
Thank you. Any other changes, Shirley, team? All right, seeing none, I would seek a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of item 7 TAC 12 to the consent agenda, a donation of $15,000 from the Farmington Fire Relief Association to the City of Farmington.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Katie. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, first item on the agenda under announcements is 5 TAC 1, which is the introduction of our regional funding manager. Lynn.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we have invited KARI KUBICEK to join us, and KARI is an employee of Southeast Service Cooperative out of Rochester. But we are doing a collaboration with Southeast Service Cooperative with KARI, and she is working for us part-time. And she is here to explain to you what she's doing, but she is the regional funding coordinator, or manager, right? Regional funding manager that we have joined with them on working for us. And she did start on May 1st. And Southeast Service Cooperative works a lot with schools, cities, and counties and offers different kind of services, professional development. They provide spelling bees for students, STEM programs, all sorts of things. So it was a great collaboration effort that we are doing, and we're excited, and we welcome KARI.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for allowing me some time to introduce myself. I'm just going to go like a half hour, if that's okay. No. So my name is KARI KUBICEK. Regional Funding Manager is the title that I have now, and like Lynn said, be working with both City of Farmington and the Southeast Service Cooperative. Just real briefly, I've been at SSC for 20 years, so I'm now a senior employee, which is I don't like. Then we were doing some planning for me and my colleagues' 20th anniversary, work anniversary, and we are doing a jigsaw puzzle competition. So I truly am a senior employee, I think. It used to be happy hours, didn't it, for celebrations, but it will be fun, so I'm excited for that. Lynn kind of told you a little bit about SSC. I've done tons of work there in numerous areas, and a lot of it has been based on some programs that were funded through grants. I've managed those grants, written grants, and administered them, and we don't receive funding from the state, so most of our programs are funded through that vehicle of grant funding. Just a few other things. I am so impressed with Farmington, and I'm not just saying that because I'm standing up here, but Kelly took me on a tour of the Rambling River Senior Center and the park and where the new skate park will be, and just all these initiatives and programs I think are super exciting, and it just seems like a great community to live in. So I'm very appreciative that I get this opportunity. This past month, I've met a number of employees, and I may not remember all of their names yet, but have gotten involved with grants with the SHIP grant at the fire department for lactation stations. John and I are meeting tomorrow to go over things about the Emerald Ash Borer grant and Shade Tree grant that I've learned tons about. And recently, or today, I met with Nate over at the police department, and we talked about applying for a grant to bring on another peace officer using funding through a program there. So that one will be my first one where I actually get to be here from the start. So very excited to kind of learn the ropes there. Other than that, I live in Rochester, been there about 26 years, and yeah, just really excited to be here. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Nick, any comments or anything to add there?
Not a lot, just welcome.
Holly?
No, it was nice to meet you tonight. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
I think this is really exciting work, and it will be interesting to see in the future what kind of funding you can bring to our community through partnering with our staff. And so thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, I've thought for a couple of years that having a partner to help us with grant writing and collaboration in particular has been valuable. So appreciate you and happy to have you here.
And for those that don't know what a regional funding manager does, it's ultimately to find source funding for projects, initiatives, supplemental sources for work that may be approved through our budget, right, or extra projects. The amount of time sometimes and the specific nature of how grants are not only located, sourced, applied for, the timeframes, we have seen a significant uptick in our ability for our team to go out and source these documents and to get this funding to come in to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. It also creates a burden on our team. And when we allocated the position in half-time or part-time to be split, that was the sole intention, is to welcome someone to the team to ultimately go out and secure outside financing and funding sources for us to continue to do things. So for those watching, that's what KARI will be doing, and welcome aboard. We appreciate you, and we look forward to all the things you'll bring our way.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Moving on, item 6 on our agenda is citizen comments. This time is reserved for citizen comments regarding non-agenda items. If there's anyone in attendance wishing to speak, now would be the time. We just ask that those speaking state your name and address. Limit your comment to 5 minutes. The council will not engage in discussion on your topic, but those issues requiring a response will be responded to by the next city council meeting. We just ask that everyone speaking remain respectful.
My name is Nathan Ryan, 22390 Cambrian Way in Farmington, Minnesota. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for opening this discussion, or this, not discussion, but comment section. I'm here to just speak about the potential rezoning. It's not on your agenda, so it's open for talking about, but the potential rezoning to the south of the golf course property as well as the school district property. There are many of us that are not in favor of it. I know that it was tabled at the last planning commission meeting, and Tony used the term indefinitely, which to most people means forever, but for some reason to him it doesn't. It means at a later date. But I'd just like to just put that out there, not in favor of it. I see that you guys had a special work session. I watched the agenda pretty close, so I didn't see that change. I don't know if that happened within the 3-day window required by law. I hope that it was, but it seems like that there was another meeting that was canceled, and then it became, today where I saw that agenda that got pushed out where you're talking about rezoning. And I know that it still needs to go before the council. You have a lot of work to do before you can do that, but I definitely think that it's not the place for zoning. I think that the application was done erroneously, and I am here tonight to just remind the council, especially Mayor Hoyt, of his and what you all, many of you, said during your election terms, that you're, for the people of Farmington. We are the people of Farmington. Those of us that live in that area, we are the people of Farmington. Tract is not from Farmington. They are just a source to bring in this elusive revenue source known as taxes, or to bring down taxes, which is not going to happen. And you're already getting another industrial park. You're already getting one that you will be talking about on your agenda tonight. And so you're already getting one. And it's going to bring, the mayor had said $8 million in tax revenue. So if we've already got one, that's going to be over 2 million square feet, and now you want another one. At what point can you honestly say that we have a spending problem and not a tax revenue problem? If everyone's complaining about how taxes are and how high they are, and you all keep going and hiring folks like this to provide funding and get more funding and more tax base and more tax base, at what point does it stop? And you're doing it to the detriments of your citizens who live, work, play, live here. We're Farmington citizens. Listen to us. Don't listen to Tract. Don't listen to them and their promises of higher tax revenue, which takes 6 years in an area that you're rezoning. I want that heard. I want that as on the record as possible. And, I am just extremely disappointed in Mayor Hoyt. I believe that he should be sanctioned for his actions, giving double middle fingers to the residents merely 2 months after he, sat down with them in a work session where he said, we're his words, we're going to work hand in hand with you. We're going to do that. And that is, it's just a politician speak. You tell them one thing, you tell the residents of Castle Rock that you're going to serve their best interest and you're going to hold them up as well. And then when you meet with us privately, you give them the double birds and you say, I don't effing care who they are. They're not ours, we are. Listen to us. We do not want mixed use industrial. I don't care if it's a data center or if it's a made up term like Tony uses, a technology park, which does not exist in the city code at all. So those things are wrong. And I'm here to hopefully start holding you more accountable, especially you, Mayor, especially you, more accountable to your citizens. People don't show up here. You don't listen to them. That's why. We're too busy. We vote and elect you to have our best interests in mind. And you're not doing it by creating a mixed-use industrial park on the golf course property or in the school property. And if you wanted to serve them better or best, figure out a way for them to get out of their contracts, rezone the property first, and instead of $50,000 an acre, after that property is rezoned and mixed-use commercial, it's worth $100,000 plus. Just like you saw, just like you're going to be talking about tonight, how much did that property sell for? And the reason it sold for that high amount is because it's already zoned. Everyone's like, oh, it's great for the school district. No, you are cutting your school district short. They might be able to sell that property for $10 million. But if they could get $20 million out of that, why wouldn't you allow them to do that? Rezone it first, go through the proper steps, go through the proper channels, get that done first. You're allowing the school district to be sold that property for less than market value because you didn't follow the process. You didn't have them rezoned first, and the property would be worth more money if it was already mixed use commercial, but you're not doing that. And that's wrong. It's wrong for the school districts. It's wrong for the people of Farmington. It's wrong for us as residents. And I would highly suggest that the other members of the council, and you were there, Steve, right? Is that your name? Steve was there. He witnessed the mayor. He witnessed what happened. Why don't y'all look into that? And I believe that you should be censured, and I believe that your actions were wrong. Nathan Ryan, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak at this time?
Please.
My name's Jeff Schottler. I live at 22420 Calico Court. Mayor Hoyt, council, thanks for letting us come up here and speak about unrelated items. Not as good of a speaker as Nate. I don't do this for a living. I'm not you guys. You sat there in our neighborhood and said, we don't want to be Lakeville. We don't want to have neighborhood industrial. Do it right. You guys have the land. Make tracks spend the money and run their power lines. Don't put this in neighborhoods. Give your neighbors the respect they deserve. This is your community. We vote for you guys. We listen to you. We believe in you for a reason to do the right thing. This is money. It's not the only opportunity you have on the table. It's not the only one that'll come. Let it be done right. Find the correct spot. Respect the people that you're getting the land from and the people that you're putting it next to. I don't know all the laws. I've tried to say I do. Every time I talk, I'm uneducated or I'm incorrect, and there's a lot of proof in that. So just speaking as a resident and a father and as a neighbor, put them where they should be. It shouldn't be in a backyard. It shouldn't be where the land comes from. Those people should have some say. We should have some say. I can't make it through my neighborhood without getting stopped and asked what's going on. People are afraid to come talk here because of who they work for. They're afraid to come talk at the chance of not getting permits later if they speak out against it. They think there's no point in talking about it because it's already done and this is a formality. It shouldn't be the truth. We should have a little bit of impact. What we say should matter. Whether it does or not, if nobody shows up and nobody says anything, it doesn't matter and it rolls through. There's no mediation. There's no even discussion of it. I'm not even talking about mediation, I'm talking about put it in the right place. This neighborhood has a chance to grow into another neighborhood that can extend to the other neighborhoods that are already planned. This can be an awesome neighborhood. If you pull it up on a map, it's now a small green dot circled by red. Nobody moves their families into the center of a red area. You look at these things, they're color coded for a reason. Green's good, red's bad. I'm surrounded by red now. Just think about it from those aspects and what you would want in your neighborhood and what you'd want to deal with and explain to your kids and raise your families in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing no additional, we'll move on to item 7, which is our consent agenda. We'd seek a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended with the addition of item 7, TAC 1-2.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Katie, second by Nick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our first item under petitions is 10-1, the petition to rezone properties from mixed-use commercial industrial to industrial. And Tony, you've got this.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, council members. Yes, we have received a petition for rezone of properties from MUCI, which is our mixed-use commercial/industrial to industrial, and it was done by R&L Carriers. They are requesting the rezoning of 2 parcels. They are legally described as outlots A and B, Farmington Industrial Park 3rd Edition. They are at the southeast intersection of 208th Street and Pilot Knob. I have them highlighted or circled in red on the map on the screen. And again, the request is to rezone them from MUCI, mixed use commercial industrial, to industrial. R&L is proposing expansion to their trucking terminal, which is located at 5260 208th Street West. The expansion does include a 76,230 square foot building expansion, along with paved surface parking and stormwater facilities. So as you can see on the south end of the building, the new leg of the building would extend to the southwest. Into the area that would be rezoned. The expansion plans do require the acquisition and combination of outlots A and B, along with Lot 1, Block 1, Farmington Industrial Park 3rd Edition, and this would be done via plat or subdivision. And these would be combined with R&L's existing site located at that 5260 208th Street West. The existing site for R&L's Carriers, along with Lot 1, Block 1, Farmington Industrial Park 3rd Edition, are currently zoned I or industrial, in which truck terminals are a conditional use. Outlots A and B are the 2 that are zoned MUCI, and truck terminals are neither permitted or conditional in that specific zoning district, so therefore necessitating the zoning request. The Planning Commission did review the rezone petition, and they did hold a public hearing at its June 11th regular meeting. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of the rezone with a vote of 4-0. The action that is requested this evening is to adopt ordinance 2024-07, amending Title 10 of the Farmington City Code, the Farmington zoning ordinance, rezoning the parcels with PID numbers 1425852 00010 and 1425852 from MUCI, mixed use commercial industrial, to industrial.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
And the applicant representation is here. If needed for any questions.
Good evening, I'm Austin Watts with Kimley Horn, 200 South Tryon Street in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're working with our Minneapolis office on this. Tony did an excellent job as always. Nothing further to add, and I'm just here to answer questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Steve, any questions?
I do. I am real pleased that R&L Carriers has chosen to expand within Farmington. I thought it was a phenomenal addition that they chose Farmington, and I think they moved over previously from Lakeville. So with the expansion, how do you predict the volume of traffic to look like on 208th as it goes north and south on Pilot?
Go ahead.
From what I have been told from R&L, that with the expansion, they're not necessarily adding any large volume of trucks. I think they were talking adding maybe 10 to 15 total trucks with the expansion. The expansion's needed mainly to move the product inside.
Okay, so it's more of stored product.
Correct.
Of existing freight, maybe a little bit of a bump up, but more of
It won't be substantial is what I've been told.
Okay. That's all I had.
Katie?
I have no questions.
Holly?
No, very well explained, detailed. Looks good.
Yeah, the planning commission meeting on this was actually really educational, the way he was talking about how the inside of the warehouse, the reason it's expanding is not so much volume of trucks, is just they have it located by city inside the warehouse, and so it's easier for them to just go up to the dock. So that actually talked off a lot of my concerns about the amount of traffic coming out of 208th there. Had you guys given any thought to Dirk had mentioned something about the stormwater pond being a little bit on the large side, or?
That's how we have it sized currently, based on the amount of flow that's going towards it, as well as some of the off-site run-on that is also we have to account for. So we'll continue to size that during construction drawings, but it's preliminarily sized currently.
Okay. And John, that doesn't tie in at all to your assessment of the stormwater runoff in the industrial park at large, does it?
Mayor and council members, no, not directly, but coincidentally, a quick update on the industrial park study, which is mostly to the south, the sort of east-southeast portion of the industrial park. We've determined that at a minimum will be a ditch cleaning project, likely from the industrial park all the way through Northern Natural Gas and onto Middle Creek, but we are also trying to identify upstream areas for additional surface storage. The consultant, Bar Engineering, is also will be preparing a scope and budget to expand that study to make sure that we don't create any situations adversely, because we do have R&L Carriers expanding. We have a parcel to the north on 208th that we'll be developing, and we just want to be sure we have a real solid sense of the big picture, but we're not concerned at all with the sizing that R&L has shown in the plans now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all I have.
Well, first, I think it's a great indication of specifically a transportation company that fights the narrative that we're too far from a major interstate is reinvesting significant dollars into a substantial addition to help refute that narrative. My question is maybe a little bit more downstream, and it refers to the construction process. There is a fair amount of elevation change, just there's some mounding on the property. Do you know offhand, is most of that going to stay on site, or is there a thought that that has to be transported off site?
Generally, we grade these so that they, as best as possible, they balance, because bringing dirt on or off is expensive. So we'll do our best to make it balance. I think there is some mounding on site, but I believe that we actually needed some dirt. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to do our best to not import or export.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. I don't have any other questions. I think it's again, great indication of more things to come. So thank you for being here.
Mayor, you actually brought up a point that reminded me of something else. Kelly, is our partnership with Dakota County to expand the trail to the east side start at 50 or north of 50?
It would start at 50 up to 195th Street, the trail. Yep, that's still in preliminary design right now.
Okay.
County
Road
right-of-way
50.
setbacks.
Yeah, so we have appropriate setback for that without issue?
There's appropriate right of way in that location to accommodate that.
Correct.
Okay.
Cool. All right, with that, I would seek a motion to approve the adopted ordinance as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Burgem.
Yes.
Councilmember Brunette.
Yes.
Councilmember Lean.
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt.
Yes. All right, next item is 10 TAC 2, which is the Vermillion Commons 4th Edition Preliminary Plat and Planned Unit Development. Tony?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Lennar is requesting the review of the preliminary plat for the preliminary plat and plan unit development for Vermillion Commons 4th Edition. This development is located to the west of the Vermillion Commons Townhome Development, located at the intersection of 220th Street West and Denmark Avenue. The proposed development is to consist of a total of 134 total residential units. The breakdown of those units consists of 68 single-family lots and 66 townhome lots, and would have a net density of 6.6 units per acre. Single-family lots would be on the north and west side of the development, with the townhomes located towards the southeast corner of the site. Stormwater ponding is located on the west side of the development, adjacent to the Dakota County Conservation Area. Minimum lot area proposed for the single family is 4,800 square feet, with an average lot size for the single family of 6,198 square feet. Minimum single family lot width of 40 and a minimum single family lot depth of 120 feet. As far as setbacks are proposed for the single family, the front yard setback of 25 feet, side yard interior 6 feet, side yard corner 20 feet, and rear yard 25 feet. The townhome setback from the private roadway will be 25 feet. The plat does contain 5 outlots, which are labeled A through E. Outlot A will be dedicated as parkland with the final plat and consists of 1.5 acres. Outlot B is 4.1 acres and will contain stormwater ponding. Outlot C is 1.36, and that contains the private roads within the townhome portion. And then outlots D and E are 2.9 acres and are common area for the townhomes. This is a copy of the preliminary plat. As you can see, the single family is on the north end and west, with the townhomes again being in that southeast quadrant of the development. There will be 3 access points to this development. Lilac Drive and 218th Street West will both be extended from the east, and Poppy Drive will connect with 220th Street West on the south side of the development. The public roads are shown with the 60-foot right-of-way and 32-foot wide roadway. The private roads within the townhome portion of the development are proposed to be 24 feet in width and will be required to be signed no on-street parking. The 24 feet is 2 feet less than what we typically require for private roads. We have talked that through with both fire and engineering, and they are comfortable with the 24 feet, provided again that they're marked as no parking. The townhome dwellings are required to provide 2 off-street parking stalls per unit. Each unit will provide a double car garage. Additionally, the townhome driveways will have that 25-foot setback, so there will be area within the driveway to park. Additionally, they are proposing 26 additional visitor parking stalls proposed throughout the townhome development that are just off of the private streets. So it's meeting all the requirements for off-street parking. As I previously mentioned, there will be a 1.5 acre park proposed on the north end of the development. That's labeled as Outlot A. That will actually tie into area that we are acquiring with Vermillion Commons to the east for a larger park area. Sidewalks are proposed on the west side of Lilac Drive, south side of 218th Street West, and on the east side of Poppy Drive. I do want to mention that Dakota County does have a 12-foot wide trail drainage and utility easement, which was granted a couple of years back, that runs along the west side of the site, adjacent to where the ponding would be, and on the north side of the property. So that easement will have to be shown on the final plat, and eventually a trail will go in there and connect into the greenway system for the county. As far as the planned unit development, the subject property is currently zoned R3 medium density residential and is proposed to be rezoned to R3 PUD. The proposed deviations include allowing the single-family dwellings within the R3 zone, reducing the minimum lot area for single-family lots to 4,800 square feet, reducing minimum lot width for single-family lots to 40 feet, increasing the minimum front yard setback for single-family lots to 25 feet, increasing rear yard setback for single-family lots to 25 feet, increasing the maximum lot building coverage for single-family lots to 45%, the allowance of private streets, and the reduced width of those private streets to 24 feet. Planning Commission again reviewed this at their June 11th regular meeting and held a public hearing. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of the preliminary plat and plan unit development with a vote of 4-0. The action that is requested tonight is to adopt resolution number 2024-53 approving the preliminary plat and planned unit development of Vermillion Commons 4th edition contingent upon the following, and that being the satisfaction of all engineering comments, requirements including construction plans for grading, stormwater, and utilities.
Thank you, sir. And we have a representative from the developer here.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Steve Trosky with Lennar. Tony did a great job with a detailed review of this proposed community. Lennar's had great success in Farmington. We're excited to be here. We're happy to be here. Thank you for your previous work with us, and we look forward to this community and more communities, and happy to answer any questions you have about Vermillion Commons 4th.
Thank you, sir. Nick?
Just a couple. I guess you probably haven't had enough time to mull on the questions asked by the one resident about the fencing or any of that stuff. Probably a little too early in that. That comes out in between this and final, I assume then, right?
Last week.
Was it last week or?
We spoke with our engineer, and we're happy to provide some landscaping, some trees. So we're going to work with our engineer's landscape architect to find a suitable tree to alleviate that concern.
Okay, thank you. I know it's a bit of an odd one. I guess my next one is 32 foot on a road, is that fairly standard or wider than a normal road or narrower?
Mayor and council members, 32-foot wide road, that's very standard.
Okay.
And that has no parking restrictions on it typically.
My angle where I'm going with this is very similar in layout to something I've talked about before with 206th and the Middle Creek townhouses, and how it's kind of, it also has no private drive parking basically, so everyone parks on 206th. Except for in the winter, and it does cause a little bit of a bottleneck coming through there because the roads are a little bit narrow and they're parking on both sides of the street. And what people are doing is parking out there so that they don't have to drive through their private drives to get to the public street and go out. So they just run across the street to the public road and get in and leave. Is there any thought to at least doing one-sided parking here to address those kind of things, and then in a similar thing, say in like my neighborhood where these kind of things seem to be happening with the private drives next to a public road? I guess it's maybe a question this way.
So, great question, thank you. Tony, can you go back to the community layout for me? Thanks. So I know it's pretty small, the driveways aren't shown on there, but you can see all those rectangles, those are on the north and the west are all the single family homes. There's going to be a significant number of driveways, and each driveway is required to have 2 parking spots, and that is on the private side, not crossing a sidewalk. So we're going to have ample parking for the residents. If you look on the right side or the east side of that north-south road, there's 8 single-family homes, and behind those are the townhomes. So for people parking on the street and scooting across the grass, they're going to have to go past people's houses, and then there's a stormwater drainage basin there, and then they'll get to their homes. So I don't think that's going to happen in reality. You have more experience here than I do. We would like to keep it 2-sided parking just for visitors and guests of the community, but there will be 26 visitor spots within the townhome units. But happy to continue that conversation with engineering if needed.
It's definitely the townhouses that I worry about more than the single family driveways. I guess, like I said, it's just the kind of thing where I think you're picking one or the other. Would you rather have more parking or be able to drive kind of safely through the street, I guess. So I guess just be open to the consideration if you could, because I know, like I said, this is stemming mostly from the complaints that I get about the street by my house that has a similar setup. And everyone asks me every day, can you please do single-sided parking here? So that's my only question.
Okay. Holly?
I have no questions at this time, actually. I watched the planning commission meeting and Nick brought up probably the one thing that I was questioning, which was whether or not there was going to be ample visitor parking. But I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Katie?
No questions for me?
Steve?
So the 4,800 square feet for the single family, that's, that's on the much smaller side than our standard. And just kind of curious, is that kind of just a market trend? I mean, obviously the R1 zoning that is in large areas of Farmington today is, in the 9 to 12, 13, 14,000 square foot range. Is that smaller lot size, Pat? Is that what consumers today are looking for?
Great question again. So we're looking to build an attainable product here. We've had great success with the previous Vermillion Commons, and this is the first Vermillion Commons edition that's going to have the single family.
Correct.
And we want to keep the price point attainable, as I said, and so the narrower that we can make lots, the more lots that we can put on there, the more homeowners we can get into the community. If we widen those out, the price of the home gets more expensive. So these will be slab-on grade villa homes. There's going to be a mix of 1-story and 2-story, no basement. And so we've designed this, again, to be a product that consumers can reach, something that's missing in the market. And that's why we have the request for narrower lots to really reduce the price point, to be quite honest.
Yeah, so I think you answered my question. So the market is basically saying, we're okay having a smaller lot size as long as we can find a home that works for our family.
Exactly. We've gone out to previous editions and we've talked to some homeowners out there at the townhome units, and they're just so excited to be able to acquire ownership of a property, and we want to keep that. We want to continue that.
All right, thank you.
Would it be safe to say that you were surprised at the demand in the previous editions?
Yes.
Okay. I thought so, because I know when the administrator and I toured the open home, or the open house, the comment that was made was, we can't build them fast enough. And it's clear that there is a missing segment of housing within the diverse makeup or lack of diverse makeup we have across the community. And you have very much filled that need. I'm curious, not a question for now, but I'm curious to learn how many of them are current residents that are moving within the community, and how many of them are coming in from the outside. But my question specifically here is, in the previous editions, are the private roads, are there any other private roads in the previous first, second, and third?
Yes.
There are.
Okay. Are they consistent at the 24 feet?
They're actually at the 26.
At the 26. So that leads into my question. 24 feet for a townhome, specifically on trash day, when they're not in your driveway, they're sitting on the curb, basically at the road. A full-size truck can't back out of a driveway without having impediments, right? Is there that big of a difference between maintaining the 26 feet versus reducing to the 24? Did it change the occupancy and the sizing of the townhomes around these private drives?
So this will be maintained by an HOA for
Yep.
the townhome community, just like the previous editions. When we look at a map and we have our setback requirements, and then we have our required 25-foot drive requirements, and then the width of the units themselves, the 2 feet, if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 little wings there. And so that's 24 feet that we need to take from somewhere else. So we can either take that from the home itself, the actual building, or we can take it from the driveway, or we can ask for a reduced setback. And so in this case, we've decided to ask for a reduction of the width. It will be private. We've agreed to sign it, no parking, as Tony mentioned. So that's a little backstory. I need to correct myself. You asked if we were surprised. The due diligence people at my office
Fair.
they would say, no, we are
Yeah.
surprised at the speed of which they've filled, not the overall demand.
Correct. I know where you're going with that.
So if you're watching out there.
That's fair. That's fair. I just, it's one of those things where, law of unintended consequences, right? Like, it all looks good, it all sounds good, but the people that end up buying there, they don't realize it till the first trash day, or the first backing out, or the first time they take their crew cab 6.5 foot box and try to back out and go, I can't quite maneuver around. 2 feet doesn't seem like much, but it does end up being a big difference. And so I guess I'm not asking to go back and redo your preliminary plat. If you've done the due diligence and our team says we're comfortable with it, then I'm comfortable moving forward. But I just, again, want to make the point that it has been looked at it and considered.
Well, we do have to come back for final plat before any shovels would go into the ground. And so we can talk to our engineering team and the city staff about the possibility of doing that. I don't have the plans in front of me to comment either way, but it's a conversation I promise we'll have.
I appreciate that, very much so. If there's nothing else to add, we would then, let me bear with me here for one quick second. We'd look for a motion to approve the adopted resolution as presented.
Motion.
Motion by Holly,
Second.
second by Katie. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Burnett.
Yes.
Councilmember Lean.
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt.
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. All right, item 12.1 under new business is resolution 2024-51, adopting a final order and record of decision for an alternative urban area-wide review, AUAR, for the Farmington West Industrial Project. Deanna.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are talking about an AUAR. And if we all recall, last week, we had our consultant from WSB come in and talk about what AUARs are, what they're not, what they do, and the process. We had actually hired WSB back in March and brought that action to the council because we were anticipating that there's going to be potential development of a large scale happening throughout the community. And we wanted to be prepared to process the AUARs and have the ability to make sure that a very regulated process that's defined by Minnesota rules was followed. And so we've always talked about 2 sites, and today we're talking about Farmington West. An AUAR, just to remind everybody, it is an environmental review process. It looks at the potential environmental impacts of anticipated development scenarios within geographically defined areas. And again, it's regulated by statutes. What you can see on the screen here is the process that is in all of the Minnesota EQB documents. It's a very lengthy process with multiple steps, and tonight we're talking about step 1. So the Farmington area, or the Farmington West AUAR area, it consists of 6 parcels located on the west side of town. It's about 329 acres, located at the northwest corner of Pilot Knob and County Road 50, as shown here on the map. This AUAR will analyze the potential impacts and identify mitigation measures, which is what an AUAR does, associated with technology park uses or industrial park uses. As I mentioned, we are at the start of this AUAR process. The previous step involved a scoping document that was prepared and distributed. The comment period for that scoping document ended in May, on May 16th to be specific. What that entailed was the document being sent out to the state agencies and them commenting on the scope. And then their comments get incorporated into the final order, which is what we're talking about tonight. So tonight, the RGU, which is the responsible government unit, which is the city council, is asked to make a finding that the scoping document, which was included in your packet, is adequate, and then adopt the final order via resolution 2024-51.
What that does is it starts this process. So the request before council tonight is, after reviewing the document that was included in your packet, we're asking the council to consider approving Resolution 2024-51, which adopts the final order of record of decision for an AUAR for the Farmington West Industrial Project, and we'll start that whole process. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Steve?
So Deanna, there's a landowner, you have one of the maps up, right? There's, you know, if you zoom in, there's a landowner that you notice during the winter and don't notice as much during the summer months along 210th.
Mm-hmm.
And that property owner. So that property owner has been fully made aware the entire time of what's going on, correct? Or is,
Yes. So
of this being a study area and what the study
area.
Yep.
Absolutely. And these 6 parcels are included, and those conversations have taken place by the potential developer. And that's how they have identified this area.
Okay, so the developer had talked to the individuals within the study area prior to commencement, correct?
Mm-hmm. And again, it's just a study.
Yep. Yep, thank you.
Katie?
I've been back for 2 weeks and I've learned a lot about AUARs. No, I don't have any further questions for you. Thank you for putting this together.
Holly?
No questions.
Nothing from me.
I was pleasantly surprised to see the detail that we received for input to be added to the scope for the study. I had an idea of certain things that I thought were going to come up, but the specific detail that the request that we received to be added to the scope it was good to know that things were not being overlooked, right? That it wasn't just watch out for the water or watch out for wildlife. Like they noted specific species. And just that attention to detail, I think, speaks volumes as to why the study takes as long as it does. Because there are a lot of compelling factors to consider when looking at intended use of a parcel, specifically of this size in an area that has been predominantly agricultural or green space. So I've never read a scoping document before, and so I too was learning quite a bit in the 78 pages that are there. But thank you to the team for putting that together and doing it within the guidelines that are prescribed by statute. So I appreciate
And I
that.
think every agency that is involved in an AUAR process, they take their roles very seriously. And these processes are established and regulated by the Minnesota rules so that they're applied equally across the board. And so that all of these are looking at the same things and have the same level of review associated with them. And so, you know, that's what these agencies do, and that's the value and the importance of these documents is not only do each one of these agencies review on it, comment on it, we can analyze the impacts, but we can also talk about the mitigation.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. We look for a motion to, let me see here, motion to approve the resolution 2024-51, adopting a final order and record of decision for an alternative urban area-wide review for Farmington West.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Katie, second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lean.
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt.
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yes.
Councilmember Burnett.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, roundtable. Leah.
Great. To start, welcome to KARI. She stepped out, but also happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. That's all.
Thank
You really did that.
I did.
I stole my round table.
I did kind of poach that. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you.
Please be safe this week with all the activities. Thank you.
It's due days week. Events start tomorrow. FarmingtonMNDueDays.com is where you can find all of the information. Rain or shine, I think most everything is going to be happening. And this is something that, for those that do not know, a volunteer committee puts on. This is not well, I guess this group of individuals sitting here putting on due days this year, but a whole bunch of residents that care very deeply for the Farmington community and have worked tirelessly, I can promise you, for probably the last 9 months to bring you a great festival. So if you are around, please come out, even if it's for just a couple of hours or if it's the whole week or the whole weekend. It'll be a great time, I'm sure.
Thank you. Katie?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I mean, having been back for the last couple of weeks, I'm reminded of how amazing the staff here is at City Hall and how helpful you all have been and re-onboarding me with everything that's going on. And I am continuously impressed by all of your hard work and the dedication you put into prepping for every one of these meetings. So I appreciate all of you and keep it up.
So every week or every meeting, we at the council, and actually this is of course on the public, shows on the public part as well, but the Happy Harry's is a program where they give 10% of their, you can point out that you'd like to have 10% of the profits donated back to the Rambling River Center. And my mom desperately needed a lift chair for her residents. So purchased a chair at Happy Harry's, was happy to donate to the program. Chair got delivered beautifully. The old chair got hauled out, and I'm just really appreciative of businesses like that in our community that support the senior center and support so many other great things that we have going on. So thank you.
Lynn?
I have nothing tonight, thanks.
Shirley?
Well, it's time to start talking about absentee voting again for the state primary in August. Absentee voting starts a week from Friday on June 28th. Any residents living within the Farmington city limits can vote by absentee at Farmington City Hall or at any Dakota County office, or if they'd wish to apply online, they can go to mnvotes.org. And also on your consent agenda, you approved Sue Bastian, hired as a temporary election assistant. She's going to be a great addition, so thank you.
And just some clarification for those that have a Farmington address but do not live within the municipal boundary of the city of Farmington. You can go to either the Secretary of State or to the county's website, enter in your address, and get your polling location. So
Correct.
I know that's an issue every year.
Yep, and if you actually live in Lakeville but have a Farmington address, you vote in Lakeville. If you live in a township, you vote either at the township or the county, depending on where that voting is done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Julie?
I have nothing tonight.
Deanna?
Well, I promised the mayor and council that every opportunity I was given, I would put the reminder out there that on July 16th at 8 o'clock here at City Hall, we will be hosting our first small business resource fair. So invitations will be going out to the list of small businesses that we have, but definitely spread the word. The purpose behind this resource fair is to make sure our existing small businesses understand the variety of resources and agencies that are available to help them with their own business growth or development goals. And just having that information in one place at one time in a no pressure setting is our hope that people find value in it and maybe walk away with some ideas or some contact information for people who can help them achieve whatever it is they're looking to do. So July 16th here at City Hall.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Mayor. McKenna Rodine started as our water resources specialist a week ago today. She hit the ground running, given her background with MPCA and stormwater permits. She is deep into our draft MS4 permit, reviewing every aspect of it, and we're really happy to have her on board, and she's, I'm sure, going to work out just very well.
Thank you, sir. Kelly?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Unfortunately, there will be no open door food pop-up pantry at the Rambling River Center tomorrow due to the predicted forecast of rain, so it has been canceled. They will be here in July. As Councilmember Burnett said, due days is this weekend. Parks and Recreation does a number of programs, starting with the Dew Run on Saturday morning. You can still register online today or in person on Saturday. First race starts at 8 a.m. Bike auction, Saturday under the big tent, viewing at 11 a.m. Bidding, live bidding with an auctioneer starts at 11:30. I saw some of the bikes today. There's actually an e-bike there, which was pretty nice. We need to follow up with the police to see if that might be someone want it back, but there are some nice bikes, so if you're in the market for a bike, yeah, a nice e-bike, probably a $2,000 bike that may be up for auction on Saturday, just needs a battery. And then Police Chief Rutherford is a Kiss the Pig contest candidate. Still time to vote with your, hopefully bills, dollars, or credit card. He's one of 5 candidates, so we'd love to see him kiss Betty on Saturday at 4 o'clock under the big tent. And if you have not seen Betty, I don't think he wants to kiss her. She is very homely. So please.
As compared to a non-homely looking pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so please come out and support Park and Rec programs and all the other awesome events this weekend.
Awesome, thank you. Kim?
I am happy to report that we are finalizing our audit, the 2023 financials, and so MMKR should be here at the next meeting to present that information to the council, and we are beginning our internal budget discussions starting tomorrow.
Thank you. Chief?
So we did take ownership of our tender. It's in, we've done a week's worth of training. We're waiting on some major equipment to actually put it in service before our old tender goes down the road.
Is the tender ceremony still scheduled for tomorrow night?
It
or
is
that
not.
It is not.
We have 2 drop tanks that we have to have in order to put water in that are still not here. We were hoping that they were supposed to be here last week.
Okay.
We ordered blue, so they actually have to make a blue tarp, which they evidently don't have blue drop tanks anywhere. So that's why it's a little bit of a holdup.
All right. Thank you, sir. Chief?
I would like to echo a couple of comments that have already been made. Due days is this weekend. I'll stress a little bit of the safety piece. There will be hundreds, depending on the weather, if not thousands of pedestrians walking around downtown at all hours of the day and night. So please be careful as you're driving around in the general area. There will be a lot more pedestrians than we're used to seeing. Drink responsibly, have a plan to get home safely. Kelly was correct. I do not have a great, huge, burning desire to kiss a pig. But I will bring up 2 points. Number one, the jokes just simply write themselves. And number 2, they do. You were all thinking it, I just said it. And number 2, all of the money, whether you vote for me or any of the other 4 candidates, there are 4 other candidates, all goes to a fantastic cause. It goes to the Rambling River Center. So vote early and vote often.
I love it. Early voting has been open for weeks, right? I like it. So due days, big week. There's a lot of events. The medallion hunt started already. There's some, technically Thursday night is kind of the real big kickoff for events downtown, but there's a lot of stuff scheduled between Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and culminating with the parade on Sunday. The one event, for me personally, the one event that I think often gets missed, and it's a great opportunity, is the Ambassador Coronation. The Ambassador Coronation is tomorrow night at Homestead Community Church. Starts at 6:30, normally runs about an hour, can run upwards of 75 minutes. Mind you that these are young women every year that raise their hand to go out as ambassadors for the greater Farmington community. They go to dozens of parades. I don't even know how many events they go to, 30, 40, 50 events. Mm-hmm. They basically work in this position all year long from their selection period all the way through, or from coronation all the way through the end of their season. And I mean, the amount of time that they spend, it's another sport, it's another activity, but it is all about spreading awareness and the good aspects of the Farmington area. And I know that this event gets missed because every year it could be 3 times the amount of attendance. And it's great to see parents and supporters of these young women doing this, but it'd be great to see the Farmington community show up for them because they are showing up for us week in and week out for several months out of the year. So if you don't have plans tomorrow night, go to Homestead Community Church at 6:30. It's some of the best 60 to 75 minutes you'll have because there is so much pride in these women and what they do. And again, they are ambassadors for a reason. They are not called princesses. So if you do anything, please attend that event. To Chief's point, safety. There's a lot of stuff going on downtown. Please be responsible, not only of property, but of other people. Knock on wood, we've had some pretty decent years. Let's continue that and be the respectful people that I know that we can be. Support your businesses when you're downtown, do all the things, have fun, but be responsible. There's something for everyone, and if you find there's not something for you, then feel free to raise your hand and step forward to the committee, because I know that they are not turning volunteers away. There's always a need to add more people to help make all these amazing opportunities and events happen. So please, if you don't see something you like, raise your hand and step forward for next year, because I'm sure they will take it. With that, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Holly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at 8 o'clock.